The following podcast is rated MAE for Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering.
Friends, lend me your engineers. Welcome back to another episode of Lend Me Your Engineers. My name is Paul. I'm here with Cameron.
Hi, Paul. We're here for our largest show to date.
That's right. At least in terms of the number of guests. We have 4 guests on the show today.
Dr. Raghavan.
Dr. Raghavan.
Estefania. Lin.
Yep.
And Owen.
And what's special about this group?
They actually all just got back from Germany as part of the Iris program.
That's right. And they're going to talk about their travels, and they're also going to let you know how you too can travel to Germany if you are interested in that.
Hi, my name is Owen Pryor. I'm a PhD student at the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department, studying combustion.
My name is Lin Rossman. I got my mechanical engineering bachelor's here, and I'm now doing my master's in materials science and engineering.
Hi, my name is Estefania Bohorquez. I am about to graduate with my civil engineering degree, bachelor's, and I was studying high temp thermal barrier coatings over Germany.
Hi, my name is Seetha Raghavan. I'm an associate professor here at the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department and the director of the Aerospace program, and I do research here at UCF.
So, and Cameron, do you want to introduce you preparing?
No, it's okay. I'm Cameron.
I think we know who you are. So we're here today to talk about your travels over to Germany through the Iris program, the International Research Experience for Students. Dr. Raghavan, you have another one of these coming up, and the deadline is approaching. Tell us a little bit about what this program is and the sort of person that would want to apply to join this program.
So the U.S.-Germany collaboration for materials in extreme environments is about a group of researchers who want to kind of solve the difficult problems that extreme environments pose to materials and structures. Things like rockets and engines. All of these applications have really demanding, challenging environments, and materials and structures have to be able to sustain their performance under these environments. And the better they can sustain their performance, the more we can subject them to even more extreme environments, and that would just mean pushing the envelope with regards to space research or to engine research, going faster, hypersonics, and all of that. Thermal and mechanical loads are a big part of it. And we have a group of researchers both here in the US and UCF and in Germany who are working collectively and collaboratively to solve these problems very innovatively together, doing a lot of experiments and analysis to find some solutions to difficult challenges that a lot of researchers face. And this group of us, we want to work together. So we work together in the US and in Germany and through this program, the IRIS program. And this involves sending students from UCF out to the DLR, which is the German Aerospace Center. And they are out in Germany, in Cologne. It's a pretty nice place to be, and it's a nice place to focus and do a lot of interesting research experiments and discuss research. So the students go out in summer, but they take a semester to prepare for it. The students who want to be in such an environment would be students who are really interested in research, who want to be able to take their research to a higher level. And we're talking about graduate and undergraduate students who would apply to this to make a difference, take research and make it a big part of their education here at MAE and UCF.
Okay, and the deadline to apply is Halloween, October 31st. You can go to aerostructures.cecs.ucf.edu/IRES, IRES/apply if you are interested in learning more. So why Germany? Why is this collaboration with Germany? What is special about Germany?
Well, first of all, I think international research is a very unique thing, and it's a very important way of building up your capability as a person and as a researcher. I myself studied in 3 different continents, so I spent time doing my studies and my research in Europe, in the US, and in Asia, and every place that I've been kind of builds me up or helps me grow in a very different way. And I think this kind of experience is something you should inject into your educational path, just to make yourself really stand out and give yourself some skills that you wouldn't find elsewhere. That is being able to deal with very difficult situations where things that maybe somewhat are simple just because of a language or a communication style may be something very different where you are. But you learn to adapt very quickly, and that capability to adapt is something that you can only gain when you get out and challenge yourself in a situation like this. So personally, I am very excited to get students out there to learn how it is like to adapt to different environments. And I think that brings to them a skill that cannot be found elsewhere. And employers know this as well. On the front of why Germany, well, we've got some really great scientists out in Germany that we managed to make a connection with, and they were interested in doing experiments in extreme environments, which is something not many people want to take on, just because it's really difficult to create those environments and then take measurements at high temperatures, at high loads, all at the same time, and then be able to make sense of those measurements to tell us exactly what's going on in materials. And they were just as game as we are. They bring to the table a very keen sense of focus and high quality, and we learn from them as well as they learn from our, courage to do some really difficult experiments. And we gain from each other in that way. And I think that that's what makes this collaboration very successful.
It's a question to everybody. When you started in engineering, did you realize there would be travel involved? Did you realize that you'd be world travelers in this field?
When I first started my career as an undergraduate engineering student, no, I did not. I thought that studying or doing research abroad was something you did in the humanities and not in the hard sciences. Mm-hmm. But actually, when I joined Dr. Raghavan's research group as an undergrad volunteer research assistant, I learned about our existing relationship with the German Aerospace Center. And there have been several occasions where they have sent their scientists to meet up with members of our group to work together and conduct experiments at Argonne National Lab, which is really cool. And I got to go on one of those trips last November, just shy of a year ago, and met Dr. Barsh, who ended up being my supervisor last summer. And they were wonderful. And then I learned about the IRIS program, of course, because Dr. Raghavan was my supervisor, and also she made the program. So then I realized, yes, this is a really awesome opportunity, and I was really excited to apply and very excited to go.
I was born in Colombia, and I guess being born in a different country than the United States, the United States always gives that perception that this is where the biggest research happens, and that's true. So when I started my career here, I thought, well, I'm already in the place where things happen. So maybe in the area of research, especially in engineering, I don't see much trouble outside of the United States. However, when I started, again, I'm like civil engineering, I wanted to pursue structural health monitoring for the preservation of historic structures. So it's, in a sense, yes, it's the non-destructive technique of analyzing the structure, see where it is, kind of like the doctor of the structure. And then when I got involved in it, I realized that it is a collaboration, and it is a global effort to preserve these structures. And I realized that a lot of it is outside of the United States, and it is a field in engineering, actually, that you need each other in different countries, different perspectives of how to do research. So I reached out to Dr. Raghavan, and I came with this idea that I'm aware of the possibilities of of doing research abroad. So I was very interested in the program.
Yeah, and I also didn't, I didn't even think about, international travel when I started, in engineering as an undergrad. I just thought that eventually, maybe I'd get a job somewhere and move there, but it would be in the U.S.
Right.
I didn't think about travel for, research or travel for conferences. But yeah, my brother was just talking to me about it. He's like, yeah, you've been traveling a lot, And I was like, yeah, I didn't realize that this was part of, being an engineer or doing research was, all the travel to present your work and then just do the research as well.
So you just got back. Everyone just got back from Germany. Tell me about that culture shock. How is Germany different from the good old United States?
I would say my only complaints would be everything smells of cigarettes.
Okay.
And there's no free water. But other than that...
There's no free water? They don't have the bubblers or the fountains?
No.
Really?
In my entire summer, I saw 2 water fountains, and both were in Paris airport. So it's very unusual to drink tap water. They drink sparkling water. But that's pretty much my only complaint. Everything else about Germany is very wonderful. I actually had more of a difficulty adjusting when I got back to the United States. I find Cologne to be an absolutely beautiful city. The buildings just look so much older. You have cobbled streets. Cologne has parks everywhere. There's a region called the Green Belt that's a circle in the city of just parks. And you can go to this wonderful park and it seems like you're out in the countryside and you're in a big city. And lots of amazing stuff to do. I mean, we went on a hike in the countryside and we got to find and touch and walk through the ruins of a cloister built in the 1100s. I mean, can you do that in the United States? No, you cannot. And also, everyone is so friendly there. I don't know if it's something they do everywhere in Germany or just in Cologne, but when people get off the elevator, they say goodbye, which in German is tschüss, or also ciao. And so the person getting off will say tschüss, and everyone else in the elevator will say ciao, tschüss, even if they're strangers, and I think that's really great. And I still have the urge to say tschüss when I get off the elevator here, and I have to stop myself because no one will know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're not going to respond to that. Is the elevator ride still awkward, though? Do you still not know where to look when you're in the elevator?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you can ever escape that.
Right, that part's the same. Okay.
But yeah, so I was actually in Stuttgart, which is, southern Germany, southwest Germany to be exact. And yeah, for the one thing, everybody was like, oh, just, nobody speaks English, right? And I was like, no, they all speak at least some English. So there was very few times that I had an issue like communicating, but there were a couple of times where people either just didn't want to speak the little English they knew but no, everybody was very friendly. I didn't ride too many elevators, so I didn't notice.
My apartment was on the 8th floor, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, no, I did notice though that everybody, very polite in terms of like they'd always say, danke, which is thank you, or thanks. They'd always say that. They'd always say goodbye. So I've noticed myself also just saying it when I'm,
It rubs off. You become more polite when you leave.
I'd like to interject. I met plenty of Germans who didn't speak English,
Yeah.
or could only. They would speak to me in German. I would say "Sprechen Sie English," which means "Do you speak English?" And they would go, "No, nein." But a fair number of people would say, "Oh, a little bit," and then speak perfect English. And it's like your definition of a little bit and mine are very different.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you talk a little bit about the actual research, the actual work that you did on the internship, or is it considered an internship, or what?
I consider an internship.
It's not technically an internship.
Technically, right.
So the IRES program is an NSF-funded program that is meant to encourage international research in STEM, but the U.S.-Germany collaboration is more specific to, Dr. Raghavan designed the program. But we're still not interns, like we're being funded by NSF, and we're not employees of DLR. We're more like collaborators with them. So I would consider it more of a research exchange program.
Okay.
But that can be tricky because you are expected to be there like a normal employee, I guess 9 to 5, 9 to 6,
We treated it like a real job.
Yeah, you definitely do want to have that impression, because where you are, people are there in a normal working hours.
Right. Yeah.
So it would look odd if you're not there working like they are. I mean, you're there to work with them, right?
Yeah.
And to tie with that, you mentioned something about the culture shock, and if you want to talk about the side of working in Germany, like how their company, like their work culture is, I mean, I really liked it, because it's not just work. They really do value the group communication or the group events. For example, to them having like that cup of coffee at like 10 or 2, it's almost as big of a deal of a meeting, so I really like that. And also we did have the chance of participating in a couple barbecues or cookouts at DLR, which I thought that was very interesting. But also it does help to make those connections with the people that you're working on. And I feel that allows them to maybe, yes, you work hard, but you do have that balance of your personal life. So it's good.
Deborah Liz and I are both working on a related project. You've heard of 3D printing.
Yes.
Did you know you can 3D print metal? So the particular metals that we're working with are both nickel-based superalloys, and superalloys means metal alloys that are meant to withstand extreme environments. The one Deborah Liz is studying is called CMSX4, and mine is called Inconel 718. But basically, they're metals for high temperature. And so 3D printing, which we call additive manufacturing, is a really promising area for industry to develop, because you can produce very complex parts without having a lot of welds and joins and fasteners. You have reduced labor hours. You don't have wasted material. But the process the process affects the material. So my material, Inconel 718, we are studying, it is produced by a process called selective laser melting. So in selective laser melting, there's a layer of metallic powder that gets melted in a selective pattern by a laser, and then another layer of powder is deposited and melted, etc., until the form is built up. So this laser is, of course, hot. It's melting the metal. This produces strong thermal gradients that will impart stresses into the material, and that affects the material properties. So before we can start just using SLM Inconel instead of conventionally manufactured Inconel, we need to know about its structures and properties. So that's what I'm studying.
And can you apply what you learned there to your research here?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm continuing my research and our collaboration. So actually, right now I'm working on getting a paper submitted for publication on something else. But as soon as I get that in, I'll be continuing to analyze the data that I was working on over there, which was data that we also gathered together at Argonne National Labs. Also, while I was there, I got to learn sample preparation, and I got to prepare samples for scanning electron microscopy, which was very cool. And yes, the work that I did there will be relevant to my thesis work here.
So who would want to apply to go on this trip? What sort of person, where in their career here at UCF would it make sense for them to apply to go?
I would say in terms of what year you are, doesn't matter. What matters is how much drive or initiative or interest you have. So a person who is already involved in research and wants to take it to the next level, make a lot of progress really quickly, maybe get a lot of work done on their thesis or dissertation. I know Owen did a lot of his dissertation work out there. Then as long as your project is somehow related to materials for extreme environments, it's a really good way to get a lot of work done really quickly. On the other hand, if you don't have a research project, we have plenty that you can work on. And as it doesn't matter if you haven't done research before. For example, Deborah Liz had not done research before, and she did great. So as long as you have to take the initiative, because no one there is going to baby you or hold your hand or say, this is the next step, let me know when you've finished it and I'll tell you the next step. No, you have to think, what is my plan and how am I going to accomplish that, and who do I need to talk to find out what resources I have.
I guess one important thing about that is that you have to think about what's going to happen before you leave. Your progress in the spring semester prior to your departure makes a big difference of you being there, because you do want to have something with you at the time that you're at DLR. You want to have a goal while you're there, but you can't have that if you haven't worked enough before your departure. And another thing is like Lin said, just someone that wants to make their work you can even get a thesis out of the work that you can get within a year. I mean, you're there 9 to 5 for 10 weeks, right? With researchers that have been doing this for years. So the amount of work that you can get out of it's a lot. You can get a thesis, papers, conferences that you can go to afterwards, but it definitely is about the work that you put in before you go, right?
So it sounds like it's a lot of work, but did you have time to experience the country, the different culture?
Absolutely. So actually, late May, early June is a pretty good time to go and work in Germany. There's a lot of holidays. And they take their holidays very seriously over there. So they will not show up. So you're not allowed to come, and work by yourself. So I know we all took a trip to Berlin together. That was in part to see Siemens, that had been said by Dr. Raghavan, but also then we stayed and actually saw Berlin itself. I went to Munich. One particularly long weekend, I went to Vienna and then Salzburg in Austria, which is pretty close to where I was. And I know they went on several trips as well. So
our motto was work hard, play hard. We went on a trip at least every other weekend, and sometimes more. I think Estefania and I visited 7 cities. Deborah Liz visited 6, and we didn't miss any work. It does take a toll on your sleep schedule. My mantra was, I can sleep when I get back to the U.S. So, but also I wanted to really make the most of my time in Europe, because I didn't know when I would next be able to come back, because it's expensive to fly over there. So
does the program cover all your expenses?
It covers, you get a stipend, it covers housing, it covers your airfare to Europe. We can also, before we go, we sort of calculate what we think our living expenses would be. So, I don't know what laundry costs, what train passes are going to cost. Because our visit to Berlin was part of the program, it was an industry visit with Siemens. We were also given extra money for our travel to Berlin. But they're not going to pay for you to go fly all over Europe. That came out of our stipend / spending money. But they do cover, housing is included, a generous stipend is included, which you get 70% before you go, 30% when you complete the program. And if you want to spend not a lot of money on your groceries and put that towards travel, that's what I did.
What's that like? What's a German grocery store look like? Is there beer right away?
Oh, it's great. So they're buckled up, because I have a lot of things I love about German grocery stores.
Excellent.
So firstly, everything that is refrigerated is in a case or behind a door, so they're not pouring refrigeration into the air like we do in the U.S. Their cashiers get to sit down on stools, which is so they're not hurting their feet. You either bring a reusable bag or you buy one. There are no disposable grocery bags there. And they have several sizes and kinds of nice reusable bags, insulated or not. And also, you bag your own stuff. So what you do is you'll put your groceries on the conveyor belt, and they'll start scanning and pushing it off to the side on the other end. And then you start bagging your own groceries, and then you pay. And
I have to say, I hate that.
I mean, I don't like the bagging your own groceries, but I like that bring your own bags, and
I'm paying this store. I'm not going to work. I don't want to have to bag my own groceries. I did that enough when I was in high school. I will say I do not care for that, but I understand
Also, Germans really love frozen pizza and ice cream. I think
Together?
not together. I hope. I don't think so. In the grocery store that I always went to, I think half the freezer section was frozen pizza, and of the remaining half was ice cream, and of the remaining, actually, no, more like 3/4 ice cream. The point is, there's not a lot of frozen prepackaged stuff. So
everything's fresh except the pizza?
I mean, they do have some pre-frozen things, but yeah, if you're thinking about getting like a frozen microwave dinner, I didn't see microwave dinners, but you can get frozen pizza.
Do they have is fresh pizza a big thing there, or everything is frozen?
They love so Germans love döner, which is Turkish, I guess, gyro meat with vegetables and pita. That is the most common German street food. I thought there would be sausage carts everywhere. No, there's a döner shop.
Epcot lied to us. That's not an accurate portrayal.
And Germans love ice cream, and they love Italian places.
Oh.
So there's a lot of that.
All right.
Yeah, there's a lot, but it's not. They actually will tell you it's not American style. Thick crust pizza. It's much more of the Italian style. Like, you can find both, but the ones that they seem to prefer are much more the thin crust. More the traditional pizza. Also, with the bagging, I would say it's not too bad, except for sometimes they expect you to basically have it done by the time. If you have a lot of groceries, that I got a couple looks sometimes when I was still bagging, and I wasn't the only one. I saw it with people in front of me. Like, they were like, "Oh no. You've paid. You should be gone by now."
That's where the politeness ends.
But just because there's a pretty big line. Also, a lot of times, like, you didn't buy your bread or something like that at the grocery store, or a lot of times you wouldn't buy meat. I typically did just because I didn't have a butcher near me, but there were bakeries everywhere. There were butchers in a lot of places. So
do they have a lot of chains like McDonald's or those?
We saw McDonald's everywhere.
Oh, really?
Also KFC.
Okay.
Also Subway. But mostly McDonald's. Oh, and of course Starbucks.
Is the food similar? Do they have different items?
We made it a point to never eat at an American chain in Europe.
Okay.
One time it was really late in the train station because our train got delayed, and I was really close to getting McDonald's, but there was a place where I could get a pretzel instead.
Okay.
I was like, Lin, stay strong.
Yeah.
Stay strong.
I did get, I think, McDonald's one time when I was, taking a train or something, but and it does have slightly different ones. I know Pulp Fiction, I think, says the Royale with cheese.
Yeah, because they use a different
metric system.
Yeah. And that's actually what they have. They have those, or I think it might be, they have those sort of things like, you'll see in movies sometimes. But yeah, a lot of times the train stations, they'll have like a couple fast food places and maybe like a chain bakery, which you'll see, everywhere as well. I think it was like Yorma was the common one. Or?
Yeah, Yorma. Oh, Cologne Central Station is like a shopping destination. I mean, it's a big train station, so there's lots of food choices and shops. I got a really cute robe at a shop there.
Does everybody travel by train? There are not as many cars.
It is very common to travel by train. A lot of people still have cars, but they might not necessarily commute with their car. Like, I know one of the PhD students there owns a car, but takes his the bike on public transit to work.
What are the trains like? Is it like Harry Potter, or is it more like the Sunrail?
No, they're fast.
But is it fancy inside?
Depends.
So there are local trains, regional trains, and the ICE trains, which are the Intercity Express. The ICEs are very nice, and you actually get a ticket for a certain train. So if you miss your train, you would have to pay a lot to upgrade it. The regionals are nice also, and the locals are actually also nice. So I guess,
So
the trains
nice.
are pretty nice. The
Yeah.
trams are less nice. But my favorite thing about public transportation in Germany is that dogs are allowed.
Oh.
On leash, although some people don't do that, but dogs tend to be very well behaved in Germany, and I'm a huge dog person.
I'm a big dog person too, but I'm a big small dog person. I have a little Shih Tzu at home. Well, I want to thank the entire group for joining us today. We're actually going to hear more from them next week because we had so much to talk about. We had to split this into 2 parts. I want to thank everyone for listening today. And remember, there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. And tomorrow is just a dream away.